the Niche Zero. It's awesome. The Niche Zero. This grinder is trending. And I thought it'd be real cool to put out an unbiased review on this grinder. Let's dive into this grinder. I want to unpack my thoughts, what I have experienced, and I want to tell you if you should or shouldn't buy this grinder. So let's get into this. So what is it? Obviously it's a coffee grinder. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, you might not know that by looking at it. It doesn't really look like a coffee grinder. It's got a very unique design. I don't think there's another grinder on the market that looks just like the Niche Zero. But what is it? What makes this grinder so different other than what it looks like? Why should you buy one of these? Why should you consider buying one of these? It's a single dosing grinder, right? The Niche Zero, it's in the name, it's zero retention. It's supposed to be something that you put the beans in, the beans come out. You open it up, you put your beans in here, the grinds shoot out to the missing bin. There we go. So let's talk about maybe some pros and some cons, and if you should buy the Niche Zero. Let's talk about pros. Number one, this thing is well built. From top down, this thing is absolutely beautiful. It's built out of metal. Everything is top notch. Everything feels very sturdy from the switch, very industrial. It's very heavy duty. The woods are very well done. This is well built. Even the grinds container, this surprised me probably most than anything. Just beautiful. It's heavy duty. This thing, I'm not worried about dropping this, denting it. Well done, Niche, going above and beyond. On the bottom of this, you can even see they have their logo, or it says Niche 58 millimeter, which is a cool feature about this. It's 58 millimeter. So if you have portafilter that's 58 millimeter, like a prosumer level machine, it should be a 58 millimeter portafilter. That's pretty standard. And this can fit right into the portafilter. That way you're not spilling grinds. You're not having to shuffle this into the portafilter, which I think is personally a great touch, and I've used that every day. Even the way that you adjust the grinds on this is just so nice, just such a great experience. The smoothness in adjusting grind, you don't feel like you have to really force it and jerk it. If you've ever used a Mauser, they can be kind of hard to adjust, and you can almost overshoot because you have to put too much pressure. Like even the fact that the cord can be tucked into the machine, it's just nice. I got the white one. You know, my setup here is all white. You know, if you want a black one, they have that too. I think it's beautiful. Number two, I think this is the only grinder that you'll ever need at home. If you're brewing at home, be that espresso or filter, this does both very, very well. In fact, right before this, I made a beautiful cup of geisha, and it was the best cup that I've made, and I've used a couple grinders for that coffee. It's just perfect for both filter and espresso. I think number three, for me, this thing is beautiful. Look at it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. The first time I saw it, this top plastic part did look a little cheap, but once you have it in person, this is a thick piece of plastic. It is good quality. So I really don't have any complaints. Another pro I would say is honestly, its price. Now you're probably going, what? This thing is expensive. But honestly, comparing to what it's going up against, I think it's well priced. Something like a Mauser grinder, the model with the same burrs of this grinder is almost double, if not more, in price. Yes, that grinder has a big hopper, is made to dose multiple doses back to back, but for home you don't need that. So I think for its price, although it is expensive, I don't think it's overpriced. So number five, this has low retention. It's the Niche Zero. A lot of grinders have claimed to have low retention, but this one does. Every time I brew, I will tap, I will bang on the grinder a little bit to shoot out any extra grinds. And there really isn't any. It does a great job of being a low retention grinder, which is what you are asking for. Number six, this has incredible workflow. Something for me about making coffee, it needs to be convenient. It needs to be simple. It needs to be fun. And I love grinders like the Brazza Encore. They aren't overcomplicated. I don't have multiple screens. I don't have all these different settings. I don't have to time my shots. I don't have to put all this information in. I weigh my beans, put them in the grinder, turn on the switch, turn off the switch, and make my coffee. Sometimes we can overcomplicate the process of coffee. And for me, I want it to be so simple. I want it to be fun. I want to enjoy the moment. And so for this grinder, it does all of that. It's not complicated, and that's the best part about this for me. It's great workflow. If you want something simple, this is the grinder for you. If you want something very complex, this probably isn't it. So let's talk about some cons. Number one, this is not actually a zero retention grinder. You know, I've used this 2.5 weeks now. After dosing, sometimes you can dose your coffee, and in the process of that, either tapping the machine by accident, grinds can fall out of the chute into this little tray, which is great because you can throw them away. But there is retention. It's very small. I mean, 0.1 gram is not even a coffee bean, but there is retention. Number two, it can't dose more than 3 cups of coffee at a time. I think the limit on the hopper is about 55 grams of coffee. You know, that's about 3 people's worth of coffee. Now, this grinder isn't made to make back-to-back-to-back drinks. It really isn't. I mean, if that's what you're doing, if you're hosting, if you're a small cafe, if you're a restaurant making a bunch of drinks, this may not be the grinder for you, because you might want something that's time-based or weight-based that you can just hit a button and it puts your grinds into your portafilter without have to weigh it each single time. Number three, something minor for me. I asked them if they supplied any niche zeros with different colors of wood. I actually asked if I could pay extra to get walnut instead of the wood that they use on their grinder, and they don't offer that. I've seen people stain their grinders, I've seen people do some cool things with this, but from the factory, they just don't offer those options, which for me is kind of unfortunate, and I hope this is something they look into in the future. Niche, if you're watching this, please consider different colors of wood. For me, I don't know if I trust myself staining this, and it's kind of sad. I really want it to match my Elite Bianca. So if this wood won't work with your kitchen or setup, that might be a reason why you wouldn't want to buy it. And my last con for this grinder is the numbers that are on the actual grinder itself. They are very limited. I find myself grinding between 40 to 50 for every single cup of filter, which is in the end of its range. It can go past 50, but if you want to repeat your cups of coffee, it's going to be very, very tough with no numbers there for reference in the future. I mean, I was grinding for V60 between 40 to 46, but certain naturals that were very fresh needed something up to a 49 or a 50, and that was only for about a 22 gram dose. So if you're doing 45 gram Chemexes and it's a very fresh, light roasted coffee, you're gonna go past the 50, 100%. So niche, please fix this. Maybe make it possible for those who already have a niche to somehow get some stickers or something, because right now it's perfect, but it just needs some extra numbers. Make that happen, because I think the range is perfect. You can make everything on this. We just want more numbers, that's it. I would say this though, if you are changing from espresso to filter, what I have found is that you need to grind through at least 2 grams of coffee for it to be perfect. That's just what I've noticed. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. If you have, comment that below. So should you buy a niche zero? Because it really depends on your situation. For me, it's the perfect grinder at home. If you're single dosing or you want to start single dosing at home, this is the perfect grinder for that. It isn't cheap, but it is not expensive either compared to other grinders on the market. And I would say for those reasons alone, you should start budgeting for the niche or purchase it if you're able to. If you are hosting big parties and you are making back-to-back shots for more than 5 people at a time, I would say the niche is probably not the grinder for you. Again, if it doesn't match the aesthetics of your home, that might be a consideration, but hopefully Niche comes out with some different wood options in the future. But it's just a great grinder to use, and it is something I would highly recommend for any home barista, honestly. Now, Niche did send me this, and I haven't been paid or I'm not sponsored by them to say all these things, but I think I'm gonna keep it because I don't think I can go back to using my other grinders. My wife, she's not as picky about coffee as I am, and she loves it. For me, I'm incredibly impressed with this product. Niche, you did a great job in designing and engineering this, and I'm excited to see what future products you guys make in the future, because this, for me, is the perfect home solution for coffee.